Let's check it out. Working. First learning for today. Prepare twice your presentation. So great. Again, I want just to start talking about where is the summer camp, because maybe I know we told this a lot, but I'm going to tell it another time, and because there are people there also connected that didn't hear it. So let's go again. Remember that we created this summer camp. The main reason for this is to create meaningful connections between us. I think that you're already tried it out, so then we'll have your feedback regarding this. Also to give back to the community, promote the collaborative culture, and of course to Montevideo, that you also did. Yay, great. But regarding the summer projects, what we are going to do, of course, is to give back the community and promote the collaborative culture. But I want to cover this very special, that what we want to do is to create value by sharing, while learning, and also sharing knowledge. That's very, very important, because I think that's how we met both of the objectives of the summer camp. And so I hope you also experience that during the summer camp and during the projects, because the main idea is that it's to create value for the community, then learn, and of course, share knowledge so we can be better at what we do. So great. This started at BMAX. Maybe you remember JP. He went up the stage and he said, "Hey, we're going to do a new summer camp. Please come and bring some great ideas to work on." And yeah, we had a lot of great ideas coming after that. So we have 6 proposals from Pat, Raiko, Casey here, from Yuri, Alex Avelli here too, Willow, and Phil Harrison. So everyone here brought to us a lot of great ideas, and we said, okay, how do we choose? It's very difficult to say, okay, this idea, yes or no. But we were smart, and we said, okay, choose community. These are the ideas, and okay, community, you must say to us what we should do. So we presented the ideas that was to create CNCD in VHS.js, that is the library behind Video.js, to work in the Common Media library, doing some refactoring and new features. Also to create a content steering, to implement content steering in ExoPlayer, to work on the CMAF, that at the beginning was a very difficult project to understand. We're going to talk about that later. And to create a low latency HLS origin and a fast channel scheduler. Of course, all of those ideas are great ideas that the community, of course, is saying we need this kind of solutions, but we just had to choose some of those. And when we share with you the ideas and you say, okay, let's go. We want to add features to the Common Media library, and create the CMAF library. We are going to cover that in a few minutes. Don't worry, and also, we asked you what you want to work on. And you said to us, yeah, I'm going to spend my time adding features to the Common Media library, and also created the CMAF library. So yeah, you spoke, and we said, okay, yes, let's go. So great, let's start with the Common Media library that Casey brought to us. So to notice, the Common Media library is a project also covered in SBTA. So of course, we're just doing some work for that, but it's a long project, lot of stuff. I mean, some of you are part of SBTA, whatever. You can go to the Players and Playback group and join also the initiative there. So Casey said, hey, we have a big issue as community, because if you see all open source players like Dash, HLS, HackerPlayer, Video.js have a lot of copy-paste code, and that makes us as community, it's very difficult to maintain those players. And that's why he created the Common Media library. I'm putting we. You created the common library. Yeah, I'll share. And so the idea here is to, again, find all those stuff that are copy-paste code or new features we have to add. It's not just go to each player and do a feature request or whatever. It's to have all the code, all the functions we need to build the features in a common way, in a common place, so we can fix all back there. We can implement new stuff there, and then do some pull requests to all the open source players out there. And saying that, I think we have our first demo today.
Okay, guys, so can you see? Just look for the camera. Okay, here it is. Okay, guys, so today I'm going to talk to you about the learnings and results we got from Common Media Library, the things we learned, the things we worked for. It was a great experience, by the way, spoiler alert. So let's get into that. It works. Okay, so we focused on three main modules, which are IP3, CA 608, 708, and content steering. Who from here knows any of these three? Some of you do. So, okay, I'm going to go and explain a little bit what these three are, so we can take care of that. First of all, ID3. What is ID3? ID3 is a standard to send metadata. I struggled with pronouncing that word a lot. It's a standard to send metadata through streaming. So we can add information into the metadata, and it's going to travel through this standard. So why is this thing great? Because we are allowed to do some great stuff. Like, for example, if I want to include like the title of the song, it can travel across the metadata of a stream. If I have, for example, a radio, I can just put the stream, and on the player, you're going to be able to see the name of the song, the artist, and all that information is going to travel over that. Also, you can add some time cues on videos, so we can just like let them know where exactly an ad begins and ends. So it's great for that. It's a great standard, and we wanted to focus on this in the Common Media Library. Number two, oh, I thought that was number two. It's CEA 608, 708. This is a standard for captions. 608 is the good old captions that we all know, black and white. That's it. And just like the Latin or our alphabet that we already know. On the other hand, 708 can support new colors, new typographies, like special characters. And so there's like different stuff that like we can pull into our captions, that is great. And number three, we got content steering, which I wrote the definition here because I think this is the most accurate I found, which is content steering. It's a standard of how we communicate the players from which CDN to get the content from. I think the definition is pretty self-explanatory. This is the one that it's a work in progress so far, but I just wanted to mention because it's something that we really learned a lot from that. So yeah, moving on. So we got the first module, refactor ID3 in HLS.js. I know it's complex. Some of you guys are like, okay, I'm beginning to understand, but just follow me on this one. I'm sure it's going to be entertaining. Trust me. So we got three different problems and three different solutions. So the first three problems we found were Shaka was different from HLS.js and Dash in its implementation and how it parts an extended header. If you don't understand it, it's okay. It's an extended header that it had a different implementation on Shaka compared to Dash.js and HLS.js. So we have to consolidate that solution, which means to take care of that extended header just as Shaka did and pull that information into the Common Media Library. So that's how we come across the first solution. Hell yeah. Number two, to refactor per se wasn't enough to push into HLS.js. And this was a big learning from the community and from, yeah, I think it's the biggest thing we learned here. It's this point. What is it? When we created the issue in HLS.js, Rob Walsh, the maintainer of HLS.js, come across something that it was really important. He was like, look, I understand that you want to pull this library into my repository, and it's great, but it's not enough just to add a refactor. You need to add more value to that. So we're like, okay, so we gather as a team, and with Casey, and we focused on how can we add value to HLS.js and not be just a regular refactor. And we found two things, and that then it redesigned the entire flow of how we take care of this kind of stuff. But two things we included. Number one, unit tests to helper functions. Pretty easy, right? Sometimes we don't take care of our helper functions. Well, we actually created a test for that, and it was great. And number two, we found that Shaka took care of something called the APIC tag. The APIC tag, it's basically, remember, ID3 sends information through metadata. So the APIC tag is a way where you can send images to that. So for example, if you want to see the cover of a disc or a cover of an album there, you can send it through the APIC tag on ID3. And this is something that HLS and Dash didn't have. So we included that by including the common media library into HLS.js in the ID3 module. And number three, included CML ID3 functions, increase the size of HLS.js. Oh my God, this was a big one. So we were like going back and forth trying to understand like, okay, we add the common media library, everything's great, everything works. Woo, now what? Now we were coming across and Nico was like, okay, take a look at the size of the build. So we were like, okay, I'm gonna take care of the, and we were like, the build without common media library was slightly smaller than the common media, HLS.js with common media library. So one more time, without common media library, it was a little lighter than with common media library, including this refactor. We were like, what's wrong with this? These are the same functions. It's literally the same code, just we moved the code from one place to another. And guess what? We were like, okay, we don't really know, we don't understand. And that's Casey over there. Thank you for that. He came across the solution. And what was it? It was that we were adding 3 more letters to one function. And we repeatedly used that function and we were adding 3 letters. So that explains the 2 kilobytes difference between not using common media library and using it. It was crazy, to be honest. Okay, let's go to the second module. The second module, no, first of all, take a look at the PR. Okay, so let's go to the second module. The second module, as you can see, is including this standard of captions into common media library. I didn't want to come across all the problems and solutions we face here because there were multiple, but I think there's a big lesson here, which is a big lesson learned here, which is, look at the code, it's the same. This is HLS and this is Dash. It's literally a copy-pasted code. In fact, we were talking to Casey, and like actually the HLS.js version of this standard, it's copy-pasted from Dash to HLS and then turned into TypeScript. So we're like, okay, we really can appreciate here the value of the library. Here's where we actually see with our own eyes that this is a valuable thing. So that's just like, it's great to actually read this with our own eyes and not just be like, okay, we understand that. We are actually experiencing it. So yeah, it was great. And okay, let's move on. And then the other PR, back to the common media library. And then we have content steering. So content steering, again, I already explained what that is, but just wanted to mention 2 things here. Since content steering, while the standard was being written, it was also being implemented by the 3 players. Guess what? They all come out with different solutions to the same problem, and they have pretty much the same spirit. Again, if we go back to the definition of the common media library, it's all about that. It's all about solutions that have the same spirit. Why don't we just put them all in one place? And that's pretty much what we're trying to do right now. This is a work in progress. As you can see, it says each player has a different strategies for the same standard. So right now, like literally right now, we are in the process of comparing and figuring out what it goes into CML because it's it's like a working progress. Okay, I just wanted to come across the lessons we learned. I feel like this is like really, really important. Wait, the camera can see it. So I just wanted to come across the lessons we learned. I think these are like big lessons that we come across, and that the experience was actually great as a team, as the leader of the team. As I think all in the team, we all share the same spirit, and it's these 5 points that I think they're great. Number 1, we all heard this from college and from life in general. And you walk across the street and you be like, everything is really important. Guess what? Yes, it is. Like sometimes manipulating code that is really complex, like HLS.js and Dash, they're really complex. And sometimes you feel a little insecure modifying stuff because you'll be like, maybe I'm breaking something, maybe I'm doing, but thank God we got testing. And testing is great. It's great because it makes you feel like I'm making a change and I'm sure this works. So yeah, just I wanted to to like reaffirm, maybe that's a Spanish word, but just I wanted to mention that testing is great. And that's something we learned. Number 2, TypeScript. TypeScript, oh my God, TypeScript is amazing. Trust me. TypeScript, like it was along the way, one of our greatest tools to help us deal with the complexity of the code. TypeScript, especially in HLS.js, is great because when you look at the code that someone else has written, it's just, you'll be like, what is this? But if you start looking at the tab, you're going back and forth, and everyone in the team came across this process, we were like, look, it actually works because of this. And we can come across the types. It was amazing. So TypeScript, kudos to TypeScript at Microsoft. Number 3, have in mind broader implications. When you build when you work on HLS.js, you have to keep in mind that someone else's player is being built based on that. So we need to keep that in mind because otherwise it'd be like if you're breaking something, who knows? So we need to pay extreme attention to that, and we have to talk about other people's players, and it was a great experience too because we're not working just as a single project, but as something else. So it was great. Number 4, understanding how we are adding value, and I think this is a big one here, as I already mentioned. We are adding value, and we really have to understand that we are adding value. When Rob asked us, I need something more because I need this library to provide something else, we learned a big lessons here, which is all the members of the team need to understand that we are adding value. And adding value, it's great because it made us understand the product a little better. So yeah, it was amazing. And number 5, to have a refactor process. So here comes the refactor process. So Maxi and Nico, after going back and forth trying to understand a process, so if someone else wants to contribute to the repo, he can go across all these steps. So we kind of formalize a way to contribute. So step number 1, you got a refactor feature. You go across Casey's board, and it will be like, okay, we want to refactor this. Number 2, step 2, compare the implementations. I look at Shaka, I look at Dash.js, I look at HLS.js, and look at the code and compare it. Number 3, merge the code base. Once we consolidate a solution for Common Media Library, we can make a new CML release. We create a PR to Common Media Library, Casey approves it. Nice. And we're all set. And we can merge it to Common Media Library and create a new release. And guess what? Now we can include this feature on the players. And this is amazing because we are adding code to the new player that belongs to Common Media Library. But there's also another thing that happens, which is a feature request. That's what happened with us with the Epic feature. Remember, I told you there was a feature that Shaka had that HLS and JS and Dash didn't have. So you can create a feature request, and that's where the magic happens. The players keep improving because of our refactor. So this is great. And now I just wanted to mention you guys the future work that we'll be doing. These are the 3 main things that we'll be focusing on. Number 1 is to figure out how to import CML into Shaka. Shaka, it's a little difficult to import stuff directly to Shaka. We're working on that right now to try to understand how we can import this Common Media library into Shaka. Number 2, we need to consolidate CEA 608, 708 into Common Media library with Shaka's logic, because we took care of Dash and HLS, but now we need to focus on Shaka as well. But we need to figure out first point number 1. And our third main point of work that's going to be done in parallel, which is implement the content steering module in Common Media. Okay, that's pretty much it. Questions? Any questions? Okay, who wants to go first?
I'll add in a comment.
Oh,
Go back one screen.
there.
Yeah, having in mind broader.
Oh.
information.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
One of the big things that when we see code coming on the other side, when we're looking at QoE and you're looking at possibilities of layer, things like that, and you see errors that are popping up, your code is now going to be deep inside, those video players are going to be used by other people. And it has in mind broader implications of the people looking at it, supporting it after millions of people are watching something. So when something does break, put good information, good messaging up top there with right error codes of whatever is available, so that when something does break, everyone knows, aha, the break happened, something wasn't expected for your code, and it happens with this. Because the worst thing in the world is you get 2% involved video players failing, and the error messages and error messages.
Yeah, you're right.
And you're like, what? And then you have to dig into the code and find out which module it was, and then you find the developer, figure out what happened with here. And that was like,
No, literally, yeah. In fact, we were talking with Casey today about the logs and how we can include better logs and how we can make the library even better because of that. Because someone else is going to be using our code and they don't want to go back to HNS code to be like, what's wrong? No, it's just like they want to create great players. That's it.
And I think that could be also something to add in the common media library, to unify error codes.
absolutely.
Big issue.
Oh,
It's like,
Okay, anything else? Don't be shy.
great.
I think
Now you